Welcome to SDH's coverage of Prem and Proper, where we break down everything going on in the top league in England. And for those of you that can also dial us up on the network, on the SDH app, and however you access the programming that we have here, contributor Niall has broken down the 10 matches that were round 3 of the Festive Fixtures run, of the matches that are played very, very quickly in a very short period of space after Boxing Day to get you into the early part of January, because of the schedule compression with FA Cup and with the World Competition. A lot of matches in a very short period of time, and the contributor Niall went through round 3 of Festive Fixtures to get you ready for the FA Cup weekend. But here, it'll be the voices of week number 3. And first and foremost, our first voice has to do with Liverpool. And Liverpool losing to Brentford in round 3 of Festive Fixtures by the score of 3-1 at a plus 517. They lose Virgil van Dijk. Jurgen Klopp addresses not having one of his stalwarts at the back for quite a while.
Yeah, couldn't be more different, to be honest. Both are Dutch. That's the only similarity, pretty much. On Virgil, it's a surprise for us. It was obviously a big blow. He didn't feel a lot, and I took him off, actually. So, because no risk, so it was not clear. Maybe he would have tried and stuff like this. So, in the end, the diagnosis was pretty harsh. And but we talk about weeks, so more than a month. But I hope then it goes quick. But we have to see. For now, he's not available, and that's how it is. And we have other centre halves. So it's now, as long as that's the case, everything is okay for the team. But for Virgil, obviously, it's hard. But for him, he played an incredible amount of games over the last years, to be honest. And so now we cannot use him on the pitch at least, but only off the pitch we will do that. And with Cody, it's the other way around. Cody's in for 2 days, 2 training days now, full training days. And it's a joy to watch, to be honest. It's and of course with our situation, injuries with the strikers as well, it's really nice to have a guy on the pitch who obviously is pretty natural in a lot of things of the offensive part of the game and knows where the goal stands, and that's always very helpful. So, and he's obviously full of joy.
Next up, it is Erik ten Hag. Manchester United at Old Trafford back on the 3rd. Shut out Bournemouth by the score of 3-0 at a minus 370. Erik ten Hag addressing the progress from the injury that Jadon Sancho suffered and what it's looking like for his return.
Like it had to have Jadon as soon as possible back, but also in this, I can't force this process, and so I will do everything what's in my power. But some processes you can't force, and this is one of them. So I have also to show patience, although I don't have the patience, because you are right. We have a lack of opportunities in the front line. Players who are available are capable to contribute in the Premier League, not only Premier League but on the highest standard in top football. And Jadon is one when he is fit. The cool thing is, and that's that he's back in Carrington, and that show he's making progress. So he's ready for the next step. In football are not robots, football players, and no one is the same. And I think for everyone, you need an individual approach. And we thought, in cooperation with Jadon, it was the best choice.
One of the races in the January window is trying to secure the services of Enzo Fernandez. Benfica set to make 9 figures to the left of the decimal place if they get someone to match the release clause. Is it going to be Chelsea? Is it going to be someplace else? Tim Vickery and our friends at Sky Sports addressed what the teams are getting in the chase to Enzo Fernandez and who might be the front runner.
Enzo Fernandez looks a complicated deal at the moment, some distance off. Can you see him heading to Chelsea?
Yes, I can. Benfica have hit the jackpot here, haven't they? This is their business model. They buy in from South America, they fatten the calf, and they sell it on. But when they bought him in the summer, he wasn't even an Argentina international. They couldn't have imagined that at this stage, just a few months later, he'd be worth this amount of money. So they've been to Las Vegas, they've hit the jackpot, now they want to play some poker. How much can they get from him, for him, and when can they get it? They don't have to sell now. They can keep him for another 6 months till the end of the season if they want, which makes them difficult poker opponents. But he's clearly going to go. If he doesn't going to go now, he's going to go in the summer. Meanwhile, let's get everyone round the table and see how much Benfica can walk away with.
Tim, he absolutely lit up the World Cup. Is he worth the figures that have been touted for him?
It is a lot of money, but you know what I love about him? Not just the talent, it's the size of the personality. And I remember his debut for Argentina. It was only in September. Came off the bench, and in the first 2 minutes, he's touched the ball 10 times. It's him saying, I've got this. This is my scene. I'm not overawed. And I think he's a strong personality. And look how he changed Argentina's World Cup campaign when he came off the bench, second game against Mexico when they're struggling. Not just the wonderful second goal he scored, but the pass he gives to Di Maria to set up Messi for the vital first, the most important moment perhaps of the entire campaign. Loves a big occasion. So it's a lot of money, but I don't think this is money down a rat hole.
First match of FA Cup weekend had Manchester United taking on Everton in round number 3. Everton on the Premier League side of things in a world of hurt, losing 4-1 to Brighton, who went to Everton as a plus 135 favorite. And Everton right now is in the relegation zone at 15 points, 1 goal behind West Ham when it comes to goal difference. Frank Lampard addressed his status as the man on the touchline in charge of Everton.
What conversations have you had with the owner, the chairman, the chief exec, director of football since then, and what have they said to you, given obviously results have meant that you've slipped into the bottom 3?
Yeah, private conversations, simple as that.
Did you have to seek reassurances, or have you been given reassurance that over the time that you will get to turn the run of results around?
No, I've never and would never seek reassurances. There's a part of my job is absolutely to focus on the job in hand. Day to day, game to game. That's an absolute reality of it. I don't need reassurances. Come to work to try and improve a little bit every day. You know, myself, the team, the squad, and everything. So I'm not hunting around for any reassurances.
You spoke about having the belief in yourself to turn things around as well. Do you also sense from the fans that the goodwill remains, because the fans desperately want you to be successful here?
Well, I think I came here in nearly a year ago now. My feeling when I walked in the building, a lot of Evertonians have got such passion for this club, felt that we were going in the direction of relegation. That's my honest feeling. So we managed to have an incredible time together. It sounds a little bit, soppy, whatever you want to say, but to stay up, everyone saw the images at Palace, and I lived that moment with the fans, and so did everybody here at this club. In my mind, as I went home that night and had a glass of wine, I was like, this is where the work begins. And it's going to be a tough journey, because the elation of surviving the relegation battle is all well and good, but the reality means that there's a lot of work to do from there, because why were we in that battle? So I feel like we're in that process. Now, I'm not silly. We need to get results. We want to stay in this league. That's the first thing this year. We've just slipped into the bottom 3. That's not my major concern, and I'm not talking away from that. I'm just saying when we win and around this area, it's a reality. We win our next league game, we'll be out of the bottom 3, probably. So those are just part of the process for me, and I can't affect anything other than that. My point being that I think I was very aware of what I came to in this job. I want to be a success at this club, and whatever challenges that come, I'll take them head on and actually enjoy them. I enjoy working for this club. It's a real honour for me. So I've got no. That's why my previous answer was I don't need reassurances. I don't need these things. I'm a big man who's working for a great club, and I'll keep doing it.
Another one of the big match races for talent involves Chelsea and Arsenal, and it's Shakhtar Donetsk's Mikhailo Mudryk and the chase in trying to secure his services working forward here in the January window. Which team is it going to be? Don't quite know. Chelsea looks like they're ready to splash the cash. Arsenal is the place where Mudryk wants to go. Kavi Salkahal and Dharmesh Seth on the football show on Sky Sports News addressed the Mudryk future and the suitors.
Now, Carve, we sat here yesterday and we said, looks like Mudryk is on his way to Arsenal. That may have changed. Tell us why.
Well, look, I think Chelsea are also interested in signing him. This is something that Dharmesh mentioned last night. He said that he'd heard that Chelsea were considering making a move for him. Chelsea have held talks about signing him as well. The issue is that Shakhtar Donetsk are ready to sell him, but they want £85 million. They think he's worth as much as Jack Grealish, for instance. They look at Man City signing Grealish for £100 million and they say, look, this guy worth the same kind of money. That's what you've got to pay. And I don't think Arsenal have got close to the asking price yet. And that has allowed Chelsea to not necessarily make a move, but to hold talks. And why wouldn't you? Chelsea, one of the biggest clubs in Europe, he's one of the best young players. So he definitely is an option for them. But as far as Shakhtar Donetsk are concerned, they want big money and they want an offer close to that £85 million.
Dharmesh, Arsenal got Rafinha'd in the summer. Is this going to change their approach?
No, I don't think so. I think the information we have as it stands is that Arsenal is still Mudrik's club of choice. If he had the choice to go anywhere, he wants to go to Arsenal. We've seen his social media output in the past couple of weeks where he's photographed the screen that he's watching, and he's watching Arsenal playing in the Premier League against West Ham United and against Brighton as well. Arsenal remain in talks, we're told, with Shakhtar Donetsk over the signing of Mudryk, but significantly they still haven't met that valuation, and Carve was mentioning what Shakhtar's valuation would be. We think it's upwards of £85 million because they feel the comparison should be with players like Jack Grealish and Antony, who went to Manchester City and Manchester United respectively, whereas Arsenal may think, well, Cody Gakpo's gone for less than 50 million. So I think that's where they're trying to make a compromise. The only issue that Arsenal have got here is it's Chelsea that are interested. Now, they are not scared to spend their money. Now, if Chelsea were to meet that £85 million asking price, then Shakhtar accept Chelsea's offer, then it's going to come down to the player. And he'll have a decision to make, because as much as he wants to go to Arsenal, that might not be in the equation anymore. So does he stay at Shakhtar Donetsk and hope Arsenal come back for him in another transfer window, or does he take the plunge and move to Chelsea?
Nottingham Forest has hit each column in their last 3 matches: win, draw, and loss. They are out of the relegation zone, but 13 through 20 in the Premier League, separated by only 5 points. Nottingham Forest right now at 17 points, minus 21 in goal difference, and they have more transfers than they do goal difference right now. And the running gag has always been this year that Nottingham Forest might have more transfers than points. What does Forest chase after in the window as they continue to chase after players that can have some kind of stability in trying to get Nottingham out of the relegation zone? They are right now in 15th, but they're in that group from 13 to 20. So who do they chase, and what do they chase? Football show once again discussed with our friends at Sky Sports News.
They're keen to offload a raft of players in this January transfer window as they look to make space in the squad to recruit a number of fresh faces for a renewed Premier League survival push. Right, Anton, have you got a list of players who could go?
Yes, well, we saw Loic Barde's loan move get cut short yesterday. He didn't play a single minute. Harry Arter, no minutes available. Josh Bowler, no minutes. He's been on loan at Olympiacos. He's available. He might be able to go back to Blackpool. Sam Surridge, striker they brought in last season, 168 minutes in the Premier League, 1 start, no goals, available. Emmanuel Dennis, who they spent a decent amount of money on in the summer after his good spell at Watford, 370 minutes in the Premier League this season, 3 starts, 1 goal, available. So potentially Forest looking to free up space, free up funds, because Steve Cooper told us last week he wants more players in January.
Yeah, but particularly like Josh Bowler on that list, actually. But Dan, in the summer, a lot of people had maybe made fun of Nottingham Forest for signing so many players, but was that fair?
Probably not fully fair. I mean, they did go absolutely nuclear with it, in fairness. Nottingham Forest, they took it to the highest extreme that they possibly could, but they needed to buy players because they'd lost a lot of players that were out of contract, and they'd relied heavily upon loans to get promoted, and some of those loan players, or most of those loan players, didn't come back. I think everyone had a laugh. You know, we came on this show and every day it was like, oh, who are Forest going to sign today? But the position they're in at the moment, they're in touch with the teams around them. They're not cut adrift. I think if you'd have offered them where they are today with the massive scale of the rebuild that they've had to have done, I think they'd have taken that in the summer, and I think they'll be pleased with where they are. And I think you're seeing signs of improvement now as Cooper gets his methods across. They're perhaps not playing the attractive brand of football that you would associate with Steve Cooper, but they've got a result against Chelsea. They've got a decent home record at the moment, and like Brentford last season, if you can get your home form right, you've got a good chance of staying up. And that crowd are behind Nottingham Forest, and they're getting to know the players a little bit better now, and those players are starting to settle in. So I think Forest will take where they are at the moment, and quietly they'll fancy their chances of staying up.
Very quickly, Zach, do we know what positions they might target?
On track history everywhere, to be quite honest. I think Albioni's on pretty good up top. I think with Koyate's injury, they'll probably be wanting to get a midfielder in as well. And another centre-back. I think a centre-back to kind of help with the load and kind of switch in and out. I like Bolly, I like Worrell, but I think another one could help out massively there. So, it's looking really interesting. I think their game against Chelsea kind of showed that they're right to have trusted in Steve Cooper.
Then at the top of the ladder, Manchester City, with 17 matches played, same amount as Arsenal, are 5 points back at 12-3-2 compared to Arsenal's 14-2-1. Manchester City has 45 goals on the season, and almost half of them have come from their big striker up top, Erling Haaland. Haaland has more goals than Chelsea, Villa, Palace, Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, West Ham, Everton, Wolves, and Southampton, their entire squads. Pep Guardiola was asked about what it's going to be like to try to catch Arsenal behind by 5 points with 17 matches played.
Happy New Year.
You well?
I would say yes. What do you think?
The result against Everton was a little disappointing, I know, for you, but you now have a big chance to reduce that gap on Arsenal. A lot of your fans will see it that way. What are your thoughts on the game at Chelsea now?
Tough game, tough side. Well managed. Stamford Bridge, what would I say? It doesn't matter the position you are when you travel there, always is difficult. But in the same time, looking forward this week, but these next 2 weeks for different competitions, especially in the Premier League, the next 3 games.
But do you see it as a good opportunity to claw those points back? Now Arsenal have dropped points last night.
The way you have to reduce the gap is play good and winning games. So it's not for the fact. So they have an average for them. They're going to do 100 or 100 more than 100 points, Arsenal, in the way has done so far. If they continue that way, we will not catch them. So you have to be almost perfect, I would say, here from the fin of the season. Expect that they drop a little bit his performance, because yesterday was excellent against Newcastle again. So, and we'll see what happens.
Getting you ready for FA Cup this weekend, just to lay out the competition, because there will be matches late next week, with this weekend being empty for Premier League competition. It is round 3. And the FA Cup itself has 32 matches coming up in short order. Saturday and Sunday, the 7th and 8th, are the bulk of the matches. Southampton and Crystal Palace are playing on Saturday. Crystal Palace at a -116. Also, matches involving Premier League sides. Leicester is at Gillingham. They're favored at a -385. Spurs hosting Portsmouth at a -667. Those are your early matches, 7:30 in the morning on Saturday. Nottingham Forest is at Blackpool, favored at a -123. Bournemouth is going up against championship leaders Burnley. Bournemouth right now at a +145. Burnley on the road at the Vitality is a +183. Also, Fulham is at Hull at 10 o'clock at a -161. Also, Brighton at 10 o'clock on Saturday is a -161 at Middlesbrough, who is a +426. Brentford and West Ham. Brentford is a favorite at the G-Tech at 12:30, starting the 12:30 matches on Saturday to +141. Wrexham, have to mention them. They're at Coventry City. Coventry is a -120. Wrexham is a +309. Newcastle at Sheffield Wednesday at 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon at a -213. Liverpool hosting Wolves. Liverpool's a -303. Wolves are a +763. On Sunday, 8 matches. Leeds is at Cardiff at 9 o'clock Eastern Time at a -122. Also on the board, Aston Villa at 11:30 hosting Stevenage at a -667. Manchester City and Chelsea, the big match at 11:30, is a -278 for Man City. Chelsea is a +726. Arsenal on Monday is at Oxford United at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and Arsenal is a -588. That gets us through FA Cup Round 3 weekend. The next matches in the Premier League start next Thursday. 1 on Thursday, Fulham and Chelsea. Friday Night Football is Aston Villa hosting Leeds. You have 6 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday the 15th, and then that skips ahead to the following week with Spurs and Tottenham. With Spurs going to Manchester City. We'll get this right sooner or later. Manchester City at the Etihad hosting Spurs on the 19th. So the weeks are a little staggered, and with competition going on multiple competitions in England. Now that we are in the middle of January, you've got the transfer window to deal with as well. And we've mentioned a couple of the principles that are tied to the madness of January in the Premier League. So once again, if you've missed the analysis of the third matches in Festive Fixtures, that's where contributor Niall has stepped in. That's also available on the network. That's about 20 minutes going over all 10 matches that get us to where we are in the standings. And we'll be back at it again early next week with another round of what's going on in England. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy your time, and enjoy your time with the leagues in England. Play it safe, everybody. We'll see you next week.